G'day, what is up? Welcome to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Savage Burbos. We're here for the weekly wrap-up, round 9. I'm joined here by the coach who kissed my behinds, Jake. How are you, Jake?
Yeah, good, mate. It's a day late wrap-up, but Mikey, unfortunately, not here. He's a little under the weather. So we've got the big gun in Savs to lead the team as usual.
We do have the big guns in Savs joining in on the panel today. We'll be more available for the live streams coming up on Sundays. So very keen to jump on board for the wrap-ups because I think it's a very exciting time. Monday, not so much. It feels like we're already looking towards next week. But nonetheless, we still get it done. Jake, how'd you go on the weekend? 1277 as we see on the screen.
Yeah, 1277. I think it was an all right score. I think I gained like 50 spots or something. So as long as I'm getting some green arrows, I'm happy with it. Captain Nico. It was quite annoying. I sold Terrell May, so that was painful. I guess losing out on 120.
You scored all right, considering.
Comes on and scores. Well, my trade went to Nicara, who scored ended up in about 70. I have Cotter as well. He got a try, so he got 99, I think. So the rest of my team all right. I kind of missed out on, I guess, Terrell's big score, and I didn't really have any massive scores either in. So I'm happy with 1277.
Did you have Angus Crichton?
Yes, I do have Angus Crichton.
How good's he going?
Well, he's absolutely killing it. I mean, there's a lot of chat now that he's, potentially going to get a Blues recall. Who would have thought, after all the shenanigans that happened last year with him, all of a sudden he's, in almost career best form. So it's good to have him, Savs. I saw you brought him in this week, so I bet you are glad you made that trade this week.
Oh my God. It could easily, you could easily think you missed him. But 595K, I was trading in Nicara all week and I looked at him right next to Nicara and I'm like, he's one guy who over the bye period, I'm going to want to have if he does play the buys, obviously. And Timmy actually said to me when we were walking out of the podcast last week, he's like, why don't you just get Crichton? And like, it was just playing on my mind all week. And I'm like, maybe this is a week to consolidate, get AFB in, get Crichton in and stay with the crowd. I've been consistent. Don't let anything like screw me up. And I hate getting players after they have a big score. He had 119 last week, but I was like, I'll get him in. He's a high upside second rower. And Jesus, I think my season would nearly be done if I didn't do that. Like, I'd be so down in the dumps. I'm glad I did it. Held on to Terrell May as well. Ruben Garrick training was very good as well. And obviously captaining Nico kind of put the cherry on top at the end. It was looking very bad. And a lot of us were kind of like, do we captain this Newcastle Warriors game? But I think just Nico against that matchup was too irresistible. So I scored 1294 up to 22nd overall. Very happy with that. As I said, the last 4 or 5 weeks, I've just been I've been above average most weeks, but haven't been amazing. So it's good to stay up there. And I think the bye period is when I should aim to strike, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly that. You're right in striking distance. So as long as you're staying around that point, I mean, you're a good chance, and we could have 2 winners on the SuperCoach Experience. Wouldn't that be good?
Oh, I'm not count my chickens too early because I've only saved 1 trade, and I guess we'll get into it on the TLT podcast tomorrow. What my plans are for the week, I will give my early thoughts, but I guess if you do have any questions, leave it in the chat because I think we'll prioritize that over doing a wrap up because obviously we're wrapped up pretty much. But Anne says it's drinky time. I think I'm on your side there. Patrick Taylor saying it's Schneider time. Patrick Taylor, part of our premium group, got in Schneider last week, and oh my God, what the hell?
I mean, it was a good play last week, but I mean, Nathan, it looks like he might play this week. So, yeah. I mean, it'll be good for round 13 because I guess Snyder will be playing the bye round, but yeah, it's kind of an annoying place to stack a halfback.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward.
3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward at the moment, is it? Queenslander puts a thumbs up with a beer. He comments on every video, so you are a champion. Evan Burnett, no Fodawaker. Yes, I have no Fodawaker.
Where'd it go?
Yeah, I went to shave it last week, and it was a bit out of line, so I had to shave the rest of it. Oh, I'm not too disheartened with it, but I'll probably grow it back by
Yeah,
magic
it'll
round.
grow back.
Yeah,
The fans want it.
yeah. Roosters Z117 70 overall, boys. Kent, hear your thoughts on around zagging, going Pappy to Edwards as a pod to push. We'll talk about that very shortly because Penrith is our first game. We'll do a couple more. Would you change the name to the winner experience if I won? I think the champion experience sounds a lot better. But if that was the case, I don't know. What will we do? I feel like the good luck has come to the SuperCoach experience name.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really change it. I think you've already gone through one rebrand from the good old Mike and Savs. And yeah, I guess you've really taken it off. But man, I mean, you're the head honcho of this. If you want a name change,
No.
I mean, it makes sense.
It would make sense. But anyway, let's go on to the Thursday night game. Feels like an eternity ago, which it really was. We're nearly at the Thursday game for this week already. But Penrith beat the Rabbitohs 42-12 very comfortably. It seemed like a close game for a lot of it. I think before we get into the higher scores, one of the lower scores who I was very keen on, Isaac Tungo, 29 points with a try. He looks like he's bottoming out in price very soon, coming up with a decent draw. What are your thoughts on him, and how do you see that game?
Yeah, Tungo, very enticing one. I mean, the low score, he also cops a week, which is kind of annoying because you kind of want him to maybe play this week, drop a bit more cash. But yeah, he looks juicy for the buyers. I think the big scores are going to come back. The game didn't really come to him. They were kind of just attacking all around him. But yeah, I mean, we've seen the last couple of years and also the start of the year, he was absolutely blitzing it. So I do like that. And I guess on the game, it was kind of all Penrith. I guess back to the question about Edwards, he's absolutely blitzing it. Another massive score, 111. I guess he will lose the goal kicking when Nathan comes back, or he might not. I mean, it's his hamstring injury. They might just leave Edwards to continue goal kicking, I guess. But he is an interesting one to pick. There's a bit of noise around that he deserves or might get an Origin jersey. What are your opinions on that, Savs? Who do you reckon will be fullback? Do you think Teddy keeps it, or new coach, start fresh, go the informed fullback?
It's a bit awkward because I reckon Teddy has 1-2 years left in the Origin arena. So with a new coach coming, are you better off just like cutting the ties now or letting him play that 2 years? What's the best team that's going to get it? If he's going clean slate, I think it's Edwards. Like, he's really proving himself to be an elite fullback, and he can't do much more to put his hand up for that jersey. Tom Trbojevic can play in the centers or on the wing. He was my pick for a long time, but I think Edwards, if he has another week or two, already now I think he's done enough. But if he has another week or two where he keeps up this form, he's pretty much undeniable in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. And I guess more players, I guess, from Penrith. Taylor May. Now, you are quite keen on bringing him in. I'm pretty sure you've got rid of him, but he's one that you're kind of going, all right, he's dropped a bit of cash. Now he's found form. He's finally got that try that we've been waiting for. Is he, or should he be on everyone's radar that I guess doesn't happen? We talked about Tungo. Taylor May's kind of hit rock bottom as well.
Yeah, Taylor, it's the month of May. I think we just got to say it's the month of May. All May brothers scored on the weekend. They have the Bulldogs, New Zealand, Sharks, St. George, Manly, Newcastle, North Queensland in the next couple of weeks. So if he's going to get any attacking stats, they're coming up. The thing that does shit me about him is Luai's kind of not giving the service that we want. And when we do see players like this not getting early clean ball, it's very hard to pull the trigger on them because we're really relying on these players to change what they're doing. And Penrith are winning games with the side doing what they're doing at the moment. I'm keen on him at the price because I think it's a very cheap price for what he can perform. But there's also another aspect of it. He is a center, and centers we like to get try assists, and try assists are a massive part of a center's game. and he can't pass. He really can't pass. I've gone to a game where him and Moses Leota were passing to each other, and Moses Leota was passing them way better than Taylor May. Like, Taylor May looked like an under-8 kid learning how to pick up a ball when he was passing. He's that bad. So I think he has got enough in him to be a great SuperCoach option, but I think it's pretty obvious at the moment that wing is his best position for SuperCoach. I think he can perform well in the centers, but historically the centers are decoy runners for the Penrith Panthers.
Yeah, well, I guess straight on that point, Taruva, another potential option to bring in. Where Toto probably going to play Origin. Yeah, Brendan Daly nailed it there.
Yep, Brendan Daly.
Mikey, who loves to cover the Panthers. So this is, I think, the first week he's never covered the Panthers in the wrap-up show. So it's good to not drag this on for 30 minutes. Sorry, Mikey. But yeah, he's been saying Taruva, another one to look at. He's scoring so many tries. They're going right outside Tungo, but also outside Cleary, and I guess doesn't have good old Luai left foot stepping going straight inside. So I guess that side more flows a bit better. So that's why he's getting more points. And him, Tungo, May, I think the way Penrith are kind of building, I think they're all pretty good options from this period and through the first bye.
Yeah, the right side is definitely their strong side. In the past, their left side has been stronger, but I think without Kick out there, they really struggle with that lead runner. But it's also Sorensen out of the side really hurts, because I think Sorensen is a good edge forward. So I'd be very keen on these left side guys if Sorensen was consistently in the side, but these right side guys are just scoring really well. And with Cleary back, I think Taruva's just as good. What's his price there? Like $6.34. I can't pay that much for Taruva, to be honest.
Not when you can go for a lot less, and Taylor May, $400K. And there's also a lot of more premium center wings, not from the Panthers, but that are, more enticing than him. They have much higher ceiling and a higher floor as well. So
like $100K more, if that. Isaiah Yeo just keeps tuning out scores, 79 points. I think at this time of year, you just let him go. On the other side of the park, not much doing there. Cody Walker.
Is there anyone from South that interests you? One thing about Souths is they do have a good draw coming up. So if they do click, Latrell Mitchell is one that's come back this week. Yeah. A lot of people lost Pappenhausen. A lot of people junking on Drinky. We've mentioned Dylan Edwards. Is Latrell Mitchell an option? And I'm sure you'll cover this tomorrow. Yeah,
I think he is. I'm much more keen on a lot of other options, but they're just so decimated in the forwards, even that I can't consider it. Like, I'm looking at Cody Walker right now, coming off 51 points. He's bottoming out. He's 516K. He has a draw of St. George, North Queensland, Parramatta, Gold Coast in the next 4 weeks. Like, that draw is amazing. If we're going to get Cody Walker and we're going to get him on a good run, now is the time. A Lachlan Galvin or an Ethan Strange will only cost you less than 100K to do. So if you said you could do that early in the year, you would have been pretty much, you would have said it was a no-brainer earlier in the year. But now that it's come up, he hasn't really performed. Like, he scores 30, the last 3 weeks, 51, 66, 38. He has a high score of 71. Does he come back? Like, no AJ there really hurts him, I reckon.
Well, AJ is due back. Latrell back this week, I'm pretty sure. That's his 3 week suspension. They do, yeah, like you said, they lose, like Cameron Murray's out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So they are depleted forward wise, and I guess their forward's not going. What's Cody going to do? Like, they're playing, he's booting the ball from their own 40-meter line. So yeah, he's the one to watch. I think if we see anything from South this week, I'm very keen on Cody Walker next week, because at the moment I have pretty much Galvin and Plath. I can move Plath to the second row to kind of, get rid of someone that I'm not happy with, and bring in Cody Walker, who, has a bit of ceiling. Hopefully South shows something. But yeah, definitely one to watch. But other than that, South just look absolute poo.
They do. I think Tallis Duncan is someone that may emerge at team list that I'll be very keen looking out for, but not much else there, to be honest. Moving on to the 6 p.m. Friday game, the Raiders beat the Manly Sea Eagles. I want to start with the Raiders because we are in the 5-8 chat, and KO Weeks with a negative 23 break even. Obviously doesn't play this upcoming week, but scores 69 with a line break try. and a try assist, and was kicking goals. So I think with Fogarty out, a downgrade from Lachlan Galvin is looking very juicy next week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think, I mean, the first 30 minutes, I was like, oh no, like no way. The Raiders were absolutely terrible, and they're getting pounded. 20? I think 20 nil. I think it was. But then I don't know what happened. Manly switched off, and Canberra just clicked into gear. And Weeks, he looked good. And like you said, kicking goals. I guess the one thing with it, Ricky has said that Chevy Stewart was, I guess, rested the week just gone, so he might be back for their next game, and he was goal kicking before, so he may lose the goal kicking, but I mean we're not going to know really until the game's being played. So, and that's a next week problem. But a downgrade, if you need cash, K Weeks looks good.
I really hope that they keep it like this, because I'm actually I'm keen on him. I'm keen on him, especially at the price, like 5'8". Like I don't really see myself spending money to try and get a Cody Walker. I'd rather just, the position has been so bad this year. If you've got one gun in there, that's enough at the moment. I think putting all your money into your center wings, your second rowers, you've got to have money tied up in your halves and your fullbacks, obviously. But yeah, it's a pretty good option. Tarpanay, 49 points. I mean, yeah.
The minutes are going down for him. And he keeps looking like he's injured as well. So I don't know if that's due to the minutes, but doesn't really look an option. Even though the front row is a bit ordinary, but he just doesn't look like an option at the moment.
I think with Tarpanay as well, he had a career year 2 years ago, and last year there was a massive regression, and it was kind of, a lot of us saw it, but we still got him into our sides, and front row was such a dire position that we just kind of let it go. But I think this year, spending a trade when we've got people like Terrell May, Payne Haas, and AFB absolutely killing it, I think he's probably like a second or third tier front row this year from what we've seen this year. Morgan Smithy's 49 points. He's about 500K at the moment, 489K. So he's peaked in price. His minutes are obviously down. Plans to hold or to keep him? He played 74 minutes on the weekend. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the minutes aren't down. He's just doing what he's kind of done all year. It's just meat and potatoes. That's all it is. I guess if you have a player you can get rid of to upgrade to maybe not Nickera this week, but a Fafita or something like that, you have a bit of cash, getting rid of Smithies, who's going to get you 45, 50 points guaranteed every week, to someone who has a bit of upside, maybe I know Smithies plays the buy, but plays the buy as well. I don't mind it. I think you're not really going to get much out of Smithies. He's not, he's going to be a safe play, but he's not an exciting play, especially with teams, all our teams kind of getting a bit better. We're getting better, third, fourth, and fourth reserves, that we don't really need to play Smithies, and having 500K on the bench, we can probably better spend that money, I think.
Ethan Strange, 44 points, loses 50K. If you haven't sold yet, do you still sell him? I guess it is team dependent. If you can get him to another gun, I think pull the trigger. But I think he's a fine hold till round 13 if you've held him this long. It's only in a couple of weeks, and he does have a bit of upside about him. On the Manly Sea Eagles side, they play the Dolphins this week. Reuben Garrick top scored 102, so that's 2 tons in a row. Negative 36 break even, playing the Dolphins, who he scored his massive 160 against. If you haven't got him in yet at 689,000, do you think he's a buy?
He was definitely a buy last week. The fact that he had last week's game and the Dolphins this week, he mainly run into a difficult-ish draw after that, and then don't play around 13. And there's a lot of other center wings that Jermaine Osago, for example, that plays the exact same game, who has a really low break even as well and covers all 3 buys. So I would maybe prefer him. You're going to have to fork over a little bit more, but I guess with Garrick, he's locked in as a keeper at center wing. So this is going to be the cheapest you're going to get him for probably a month or so. So I think maybe, bite the bullet, bring him in, enjoy the score this week, and maybe temper your expectations for the couple of weeks after.
Yeah, the issue is with Garrick. If you haven't already got on, I think you've kind of missed the initial, like, against the Dolphins. We don't know what Dolphins are going to show up, but this is the 1 week leading up to the next couple of weeks where I reckon his upside is going to be there, whereas the next couple of weeks it won't. So maybe if you are tossing up between him or another higher upside center wing, I'd probably go the higher upside guy who maybe is less owned, because I think over the next 3 weeks, you probably can target. If it's between him and a Zarko or him and a Val Holmes, I'd be looking at one of them guys just because of the draw over the next couple of weeks. But nonetheless, negative 36 break even at the price. It's a pretty good option. Tom Trbojevic, 90 points, very highly traded out last week and also pretty highly traded out this week. 90 points, plays the Dolphins this week. There's no way I'm trading him out, especially with the likes of Cleary not being available. We've got Pappy out. It feels like there's a lot of high upside guys not available at the moment. And I think he's one before Origin where I really see a big score coming from.
Yeah, 100% agreed. If you've got him, I wouldn't be trading him out. I'd probably be trading out the other fullback. I think he's, he got 90. I know he got quite a lot of his attacking stats in that game, scored a lot early, and then kind of, I guess, Manly didn't do anything in the second half again. So, but the fact that he, like you said, high upside, it doesn't really matter who he's playing either. He's going to be involved in their attack. So he's not someone I would be selling. That's for sure.
124 trade outs, 520 trade ins this week. He is 26% owned. So I think that's pretty good ownership for Tom Trbojevic. But nonetheless, I think a lot of people sold last week to go to Trey Fuller. Ooh, it's an awkward move, isn't it?
Don't worry, just look at that cash that you made.
Yeah, 40 to 18, Roosters play the Broncos. Angus Crichton, 151 points. Connor Watson has played 80 minutes the last 4 weeks with 125 points. I think we're going to wait to see on team list for him, but 550K, it's probably missed the boat over the last 2 weeks. Terrell May, 16,000 people traded out last week. Jake, 120 points. Were you considering it at all?
I was not. I didn't see it coming. I mean, I didn't see a front rower scoring a double. He was kind of just plodding along like he does. I thought he might have been taken off because they had kind of all their middles to come back on. Coach, like he does, good old Robbo, likes to trick us week in, week out, and he played in big minutes, played 60-ish minutes, 2 tries, massive score, 120, and rewarding those that held, burning those that sold like I did. So, I wouldn't be expecting 120 from you every week, so it's a good one to kind of get over everyone that held. But I guess over the Origin period, you kind of expect that 60 minutes. It's just going to be interesting with Hargraves coming back this week, Radley potentially back as well. It's going to be a watch. I think the minutes might come down in the next couple of games.
Yeah, we've got Hargraves back and Linu back next week. Oh, this week. Radley back, but we're hearing some whispers that Radley could be on the edge. You didn't hear from me. You didn't hear that from me. Joey Manu just keeps tuning out scores at 83 points. Dom Young, 84 points. The last 2 weeks, he's had a pretty good draw. -4 break even, 549,000. I wasn't burnt from him earlier on, so I feel like I'm all for it. 88 and 84 in the last 2 weeks. Could you do it again?
Well, again, I wasn't the one that got burnt. Grant from our team got burnt by him. I don't think he's going to, and Timmy, I don't think they're going to go back. I'm sure you can ask Timmy tomorrow on the TLT show if he will ever go back to him. But Timmy, once someone's, wronged the Villi army, they don't really come back. So, I can definitely say he's dropped bottomed out in price. I think he's going to go on the up. Roosters look good. That right side's humming. Hopefully he doesn't, bring out a -15 like we got from him last time he was, primed to bring in.
You're going to have a look at these scores. 50 points when he was 2.5% owned. 150 when he was 2.5% owned. 30 points, he was 12.7% owned. -15, 12.97% owned. went back down to 2.9% owned, 88 points, 3.3% owned, 84 points. So if he's on the top traded in this week, I think if he goes above 10%, he's just cursed, isn't he? Like, but that being said, his draw, like he was playing Penrith, so no one expected big scores from him. But traded in, is he on there? He's not. Oh no, he's the fourth most traded in. So 4,000 people have traded him in at the moment. Thoughts on going RTS to him?
I think Warriors backs. I have Dallin as well. I'm getting rid of Dallin. I definitely think the Warriors backs are sells. They got a tough run coming up. RTS in the centers just isn't doing it. So I think RTS to Dom Young's a pretty good move. And fingers crossed it doesn't go above 10% and he doesn't end up stinking up like last time. But yeah, Dom Young, I can see why people are bringing him in. The Roosters are humming. I do like it.
They do have a tough draw, though. They play the Sharks at Magic Round, and then they play Penrith before the bye, I'm pretty sure. Hold on, just let me double check.
I don't think they versus Penrith. I don't think it's Penrith.
Oh, it's not Penrith. It must be Melbourne then. Just let me have a look. So, no, they've got the Raiders. So, like, their draw is not that bad.
No.
Okay. I like it. I actually like it because the Warriors, we can look at the Warriors now and they're not a tough draw, in my opinion. Like the Warriors, it's not a tough matchup. Angus Crichton, obviously top scores 151, negative 52 break even at 712K. The question is, if you haven't already got him, do you bite the bullet and get him in?
Yeah, it's kind of now or never the way he's playing. I mean, he's back to what he get. He gets, 65, 70 just in his normal stuff and add on try and try assist. He's running off Kiri and he's getting a lot of attacking stats as well. So I think him and probably David Fafita are the premium second row options at the moment. So you're going to get him for 700K. It's annoying, but I mean, the way he's going, he's absolutely blitzing it.
Tupanua.
Actually, question to you, Saz. If you didn't go him last week, would you have gone him this week off the back of a 151?
No. It's a tough one. I'm so glad I went him last week because I was very keen on going elsewhere and like going a pod option. I feel like it felt boring. It felt like I wasn't going to get in front of the pack by getting him in, but obviously helped me stay with the pack.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I guess people now, if they don't have him, continue to maybe anti-pod him, try and find the next guy who's going to take off. Because I guess if you're bringing him in, you're just matching what everyone else is doing. You're not making up the points that he's already kind of gained. So that's one thing to think about for non-owners.
We've got some comments in the chat just saying the camera keeps freezing. I'm not at my place at the moment, so I apologize if that's the case. If it is annoying, just go listen to the audio because that is not freezing at all. So that'll be up straight after this. Reece Walsh, 51 points. There is a very popular fullback on around this week. Reece Walsh is 675K, so he's probably topped out for now with a break-even of 81. Does play Parramatta and will gain the goal kicking this week. So I see a lot of people considering selling to go to Drinkwater. I kind of like the matchup this week, and I like the matchup for Magic Round as well. What are your thoughts?
I do. I'm a Reece Walsh owner, and the next three games are looking pretty good to go. Parramatta, Manly, and then the Titans just before the bye. And then I think as soon as it hits round 13, you can sell him off to, Joey Manu, Zach Lomax if you don't have him. So they're sort of players. So I think the run coming up's good. Gets the goal kicking. I mean, he's kind of... We know Reece Walsh. He's a trier. The last couple of games, especially on the weekend, he's a kind of a pass away from a line break try assist, and he's kind of just not hitting the mark. So I think, I'm not rushing to sell Reece Walsh. I mean, I have Pappenhausen, so I'm kind of forced to sell him to Drinkwater anyway. But I guess if your fullbacks are Reece Walsh and Turbo, and you kind of want to drink water, who would you be trading out of those two, Savs? Because I think a lot of people have Walsh and Turbo.
Oh, it's so tough. Like I feel like if you've got Walsh, there's no point going to Drinkwater. They're the same player. Like that, they both accumulate stats, and don't accumulate. They get their stats from attacking plays, and they're big upside players because of that. I think Drinkwater has a much bigger ceiling, but I also think that Reece Walsh is he just feels more dangerous to watch when you don't own. So, yeah, I think that's the play there. Moving on to the 3 p.m. Poo Slinger, the best ref game of the weekend. The Bulldogs versus the Tigers. Not much doing here. Galvin, 45 points. Zeri, 52 points with a try. Makes a bit of money. 474K now. Karaz, 48 points. Give me something here, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of just all about the ref, it seems, before, during and after the game. Burton continues to be like the best scoring 5'8" at the moment, and we could have got him for 550K early on. He's just going absolute tear. I mean, it's kind of too late to go him now. The fact he's 700 plus K. Reid Marnie, I mean, he keeps scoring well, but again, I was burnt by him last year. Tim Moody was the same. We are never going Reid Marnie again. Karen got a try, which kind of saved his score a bit because he was on track for about a 45. Kiraz got kind of burnt people, but he's kind of still one to look at for the buy. His price will kind of hover around that 600K mark. There's so many good center wings, though, that he might be the guy that you kind of miss out and go these guys who are in better sides and, have a more consistent high scoring thing. But I guess Tigers, not really anyone. I mean, Bateman, 2 games at lock, he's scoring okay, but at lock, he's not really getting any attacking stats. Well, to be honest, none of the Tigers are getting attacking stats. So, yeah, not really looking at Tigers. They don't play around 13, so not really anyone to look at. Although, if anyone has Isaiah Popoli, he looks an absolute sell. He's not playing 80. Fainu is playing 80, and then Bateman's going out to the edge and they're bringing on extra middle. So IPAP definitely a sell. Fainu, front row and second row duel. I guess the last couple of weeks, a lot of people brought him in, Savs. Is he kind of just a one that we're not worried about getting?
I don't hate him at the price though. Like 379K, I think there's at least 100K that can be made, potentially more if you get some attacking stats. I think the Simbin last week kind of stunted his cash growth a bit, but with a small break even, I think his break even's 31 this week. He played 80 minutes on the weekend, which is a good sign. And I think the inside word is that is his edge spot. I think they're looking at shifting Bateman to the middle anyway. His break even is 36. He's not a must buy once again, but I do like the idea of selling Fini Fuiaki for him to make nearly 100K and then shift Fainu to the front row when Hughes or Henry are ready to sell. So although Hughes for the buy rounds I think is going to be handy, but it also gives you an avenue to do so. But it's just not exciting. I think you can do better purchases this time of year. If I had someone if I already had AFB and my second front rower wasn't Terrell May, I'd consider it. But yeah, that's probably the only.
Yeah, it's not exciting. We don't want to be talking about front rows, really, is it? It's not an exciting trade.
We don't. I've seen a lot of chat on this game as well with the referee. Yeah, it was poor. It was poorly done, but no need to go online and say it was poorly done. I'm pretty sure she knows what call she got wrong and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty hard being a female referee in a men dominant game, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we wouldn't really know, Savs, but I imagine it is quite difficult. I mean, Belinda Shah does a fantastic job, and she did the game after this.
I thought she did all right, eh?
Mm.
But they were saying she didn't do that good. I think the bunker is letting these people down a lot as well. Like the bunker are making just as bad decisions. But I guess that moves on to the Melbourne and Titans game. AJ Brimson top scores for the Titans, 104 points. Available in centre wing, Jake.
Yes, he's kind of a one that's gone under the radar. He's scoring very well since he gone to fullback. The last 3 games, scoring well. Titans look better with him at fullback. I guess the one's going to be when Jaden Campbell comes back. What do they do? I don't think you can move Brimson. I think they've got to keep him at fullback.
No way.
And the fact you can kind of get him at centre wing, you're not going to pick him at fullback. The price for me is kind of gone out of reach. I'd rather other centre wingers for 680. If we could have got him, 2-3 weeks ago for 550k gold, but he's absolutely killing it. It's kind of a one for me, and probably a lot of other people have won. I wish we got him 2 weeks ago. Oh, well, we'll find someone else.
Yeah, every time I think about him, I think of his starting price, and I'm like, I don't know if I can justify buying him for that price. But then I look, and he's like 200k more than that. So 680k at the moment. I mean, I reckon he's still a good buy. Like he looks really good at fullback, obviously. Dave Fifita with 84 points, no attacking stats, but 12 points in offloads, 26 points in tackle busts. He just looked so dangerous this week, and he plays someone this week who is just escapes me. The Cowboys. So that's a really good matchup for Fifita. So I'm going to be a scared non-owner watching along this weekend. Not much else doing at the Titans, but for the Melbourne Storm, it was looking like Pappenhausen was going to absolutely kill the Titans. He was on track for probably the biggest score of the weekend, but went off at just before halftime with 73 points. Were you non-owner?
Yeah, I'm an owner. So just before, I guess, his injury, he was sitting on 73, absolutely cheering. And then just like Pappenhausen does, the poor bloke just can't cop a break. And another injury, I guess this one, good for him, it's not as serious. I think it's about a 4-ish week injury, maybe 4 to 6. So they're good for him. But I guess anyone who has him, he's a sell. There's so many fullbacks available that, you're not really going to keep him for 4 weeks. So definitely a sell. Kind of sucks because, like you said, he was on track for a big score because 73 in 35 minutes.
It's really unlucky because he was a lot of people would have considered captaining him, and I'm sure a lot of people would have as a pod option over Nico. And Nico scored 97 points, which is great, but he could have got that 150 score, this 150 captain score this weekend that could have really separated you from the pack. So I'm cheering that he didn't quite get there, but. Yeah, very scary as a non-owner watching that. But then when he went off at halftime, it was pretty sad for the game because he's been playing really well. Sean Bloor, 65 points. He looked really good. He got a couple of line break assists running alongside Munster, who was quite highly traded in this week. 200th game, scored a try and scored 58 points, but up to 750k. So I don't think he's an option leading into Origin at the price anymore.
No, yeah, definitely not. And I think maybe the same for Harry Grant. I guess he's a little bit cheaper, but this so close to Origin. He's not really the Harry Grant of previous years either. He's not really getting those massive scores. So I guess these players, go someone else, I think, at this point of the year.
Do you think Danny Levi can match Harry Grant for the rest of the season?
No, definitely not. He's going to need 2 tries pretty much every game. Although they scored pretty similar this week, so I guess there's 1 week.
Yeah, for sure. With the Pappenhausen injury, Suafalongo goes to fullback. 330k has played 1 game. Not sure about an injury, but he looked pretty good at fullback. If he is named for TLT over the next 2 weeks, would you be interested?
I think you'd be silly not to. I think his ceiling's high at fullback. Like you said, there was kind of a bit of an injury. He didn't really finish the game, but I guess it's not going to be a serious one. So not going to be really a pickup this week, maybe next week. So we kind of get a look to see what he's going to do. We're kind of going to have to see what the injury length of Pappenhausen is. His injury history, they probably, make it pretty precautious. So, could be more weeks than what it's made out to. So more weeks for Polongo. But Yeah, he's very exciting. We've seen glimpses of him last year. So, yeah, it'd be hard not to pass him up for, 330K?
For sure. And the pod of the week that I thought was the pod of the week last week, Nick Meaney, 45 points. The Titans showed up this game. So I think I really think the Pappenhausen injury really stunted the Melbourne Storm's momentum. I think they would have gone on with it if it wasn't for that injury. But yeah, I kind of like what I saw from the Titans. But yeah, Nick Meaney, I know you're a big Nick Meaney type of guy, has Parramatta and Manly Seagulls over the next 2 weeks after this. Are you going to eye him off?
Big Nick Meaney guy, but no, I won't be. I prefer the other options. All players that I guess are also playing that 13 bye. I don't know. If you went to fullback, maybe you're going to say Folongo. They put him on the wing or even in the centres and Nick Meaney's fullback. Definitely be looking at him then. But
yeah, for sure.
I think it's at centre. I know he does goal kick, but he's not heavily involved kind of in their attack. Melbourne don't like using their centres, it seems.
Yeah, they haven't for a long time as well. Moving on to the Cowboys Dolphins game, Jermaine Asako top scores with 151. Jesus, did you consider him at all this week? And is that why you're burning?
No, because I considered him 2 weeks ago.
Oh no, that's even worse.
I end up so the Taylor May was out the week before, and I'll go, if Taylor May's out this week, I'll go Taylor May to Asako, and Taylor May ended up playing and scored a massive 38 points or whatever, and then Sako got 100 last week and then 151 this week. So it's kind of sailed a bit because now he's nearly 800K, but back-to-back tons. He goes on these streaks. We saw it last year, the exact same. He goes ton. Early on, he was kind of, they didn't go right. They just kept going left to Bostock. But I don't know. Asako plays all three buys. Definitely seems like a premium centre wing for buy coverage. What about you, Savs, eyeing him off?
No, I'm not a Asako guy. I had him when he was at the Broncos, and
he was poo.
Frustrating own. I really like what he's doing at the Dolphins, but I've just never really I've always kind of held off him, and I don't think he's going to hurt you because I think he's going to have these big ones, but he's also going to have these average ones. But he always just seems to get over the line, and I think it has coincided this year. His price drop coincided with Herbie Farnworth playing on the right. Jake Averillo has now gone to the right, who is a much better suited centre for Jermaine Asako. Gives him that nice, clean early ball. Or not even early ball, but just like well-timed ball for him to make that line break. So I like Averillo alongside him. If Herbie is due, I'm not sure what the prognosis on Herbie is, but if he's back
too far away.
Yeah, if he's not far away, I'm not interested at all. But no. I do think since Averillo's playing so well, do they put Herbie to the left since Herbie played on the left for the Broncos last year?
Yeah, I mean, Tessinu got an injury and he's not the best defensive center in the comp. So I think Herbie probably comes in for him. I think Averillo keeps his spot. And I think the fact that the Titans are going well, Asako's killing it on that right side with Averillo. I think they keep it there. And Nikorima, he's another player that's kind of going under the radar. He's absolutely blitzing it in terms of SuperCoach, available at 5'8", up to 600 and something K now. So he's kind of, the boat sailed a bit, but he's gone on a bit of a run. And that's coincided with kind of Asako scoring all these points because Nikorima's setting him up.
Yeah, he's going really well at the moment. What did Bostock score? 20 points. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Trey Fuller, one of the most traded in players last week for the Dolphins, 38 points. How much money did he make? The verdict is in. He made 136K with a negative 33 break even. So, I mean, it's still kind of a win. If you can upgrade him from 500K to one of these guns in 2 weeks, then it's probably worked if a person you were going to have doesn't go off this week and next week. That makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, the play was to make cash. I didn't expect the scoring to keep up and be, level with all these premium fullback options. So, I mean, that score kind of hurts his price generation, but I think he's going to make at least 200K combined. So Hopefully he gets a little bit more. Don't know when Hammer's coming back. So I guess that's going to be a watch. Hopefully Hammer's a bit further away for those that bought, and Fuller can make a bit more cash over the next couple of weeks for those that bought him in.
Jeremy Marshall-King looks like he's bottoming out. 633K looks like a good option for the buys. The Dolphins play all 3 buy rounds. He's kind of the same price as Harry Grant and all the other options at the moment, but nonetheless, he's still a pretty good option over the buys. He's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I mean, early on, there was kind of a bit of knock saying that he might not have been playing 80, but he's been playing 80 every game. That injury from last year doesn't seem to be hampering him. I mean, he's going to get you at least 50. It does take a lot of runs, so, try assists, tries as well. He's definitely one of the premium guys. I'd probably put him in probably top. He's definitely top 4 hookers. Put him in whatever order you want, but yeah, he's one to consider. I guess he does cover all the buys, and you're not going to have to worry about Origin because he's a Kiwi. So if you need a hooker, get him. But I think everyone's kind of got an okay hooker pending Appy, I guess, this week. So they don't really want to be moving on from, say, Harry Grant to Marshall King, Robson to Marshall King. They're kind of locked into these guys. Again, center wings, second rows are kind of where we want to be upgrading, getting these high ceiling players.
The Cowboys were pretty disappointing on the weekend, but they still pumped out a fair few SuperCoach scores. Cotter 99, you'd be very happy with that. They actually scored more points across the board than the Dolphins did, which kind of says a lot, I guess. Drinkwater 96 points. Nanai 89 points. He was picked up by a few people last week, break even of -14 with a pretty good draw coming up. Second row pod option for the next couple of weeks, potentially?
I think when he bottomed out kind of last week and maybe the week before, he's gone on a run since then. 2 tries on the weekend. I know he's a try-scoring back rower. Does have a good draw as well. I don't know. I guess you can go him, but the fact they kind of got Kilikefu Finiafuyaki there. I love saying his name. That's why I said the full name. And Lukey also back. We saw kind of last year and even the start of this year, they kind of split around all 3 second rowers.
Yeah.
Nanai, I assume, is going to play Origin as well, so he's not going to be available for round 13. But so it's kind of the more you delay these players that are playing Origin, the less benefit you're kind of giving yourself. Where if you win them, 2 weeks ago, you get an extra 2 weeks of these guys, and that was kind of when Nanai bottomed out. I think he was under 500k, and now he's on a run since. So he's
480k 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, now he's nearly 600. So I don't know. He's a nice one, but not for me.
Potential cheapie of the week this week, Tom McHaley scores 36 points, break even at 12, 238k. I mean, in NRL, he looks a lot better, obviously, because he's not getting the minutes that we probably want from him. But 17 minutes, his first game, 22 on the weekend. If he just gets that pushed up to 30 minutes, he could be a real beast. Like, do you take a punt and just hope he gets a few more minutes over the Origin period?
Well, I mean, they won't have Cotter there for the Origin, so there's definitely 70-ish minutes to go around. I don't know. He's just another middling front rower. He's not going to generate a lot of cash. He could, fall out of the side with a bit bad run of form. So not really one I'm going to be wasting a trade on at this stage. I mean, you're going to drop Hughes or Henry to him, net 100 and something K, and then be stuck with this bloke for probably the season.
I feel like he's a guy that can get a try assist. Like, pop the arm out, get a try assist.
Well, he's yet to score a try, so it's going to have to be a try assist. The poor bloke.
Well, it doesn't mean he can't score a try just because he hasn't scored a try yet.
Lindsay Smith scored one on the weekend, so maybe it's the streaks are going to be broken.
Oh, well, Corey Jensen hasn't scored in 100 games, so I would have liked for him to score a couple of weeks ago. But Valia, 43 points. Braden Burns just signed with the Cowboys, so I think I'd wait and see on that one. But he's 357k. I guess we'll see team list tomorrow, but maybe he's one to watch out for because there is a spot available there. Tom Dearden, 87 points. Reece Robson, just the best hooker of the weekend, besides obviously Connor Watson. Very happy with his performance. Jake Clifford, I thought he offered a lot more than Chad Townsend with that bomb.
He did. Yeah, definitely a better kicking game. Defensively, he was good as well. Put a couple of shots on some bigger bodies, which Chad doesn't do. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. It was a late exclusion, I'm assuming injured or
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't really know, but not really one for, not really a SuperCoach option available at halfback only. But in terms of, better than Chad, I think he was.
I think he was too. But he's that type of guy that will come in and play a really good game, but can't keep it up for like 3 or 4 weeks.
No, never has been in his career.
But I really like to see him play like that for a whole season, because like that bomb was just he just offered so much. Like it created a lot of mistakes through Trey Fuller, which was something that Chad Townsend would have never put pressure on. Like he's just straight up and down kicker. We'll put it in the spot. Probably wouldn't have even targeted Trey Fuller. Let's be honest. But moving on to the 2 p.m. poo slinger for the Newcastle the Warriors. This was the game I was looking forward to most on the weekend, and it was the most disappointing game all weekend. The Warriors look shit. I said last week that they're probably a team that we've got to consider being a tier lower than we're expecting them to be. And I'm even thinking that they're a tier lower than what I was saying last week. Like that, they just looked awful.
Yeah. Conditions wise, I guess you can put that down to, I guess, their attack. But the fact that they've been like this for a couple of weeks now, it's just not going for them. They come up to a very hard run. So I guess Tuivasa-Sheck, Dallin, even Sean Johnson, these guys, the fact the Warriors aren't going well, do you think they're all sells, Savs?
Dallin for sure. It just looks like their right side play isn't sinking. I'm selling Chance this weekend. I think his base is still good, and you can't write off the weekend. You kind of got to write off just because of the weather, but they just didn't look good. They got a tough draw coming up, and you've got to target these guys who can score 150. I think Chance can score 100 against these sides coming up, but I don't think he can do that 150 score. So it is why I'm selling him. I was considering selling Turbo for Drinky this week, but I think it's got to be Chance just because of the ceiling potential. Fanil Blake is obviously a hold. I'm holding Sean Johnson for now.
Yeah, so am I.
Just because the buys are so close, and I think he will be a really good thing in the buy period. But yeah, there's not much else there, obviously.
No, I guess over to Newcastle. There's a couple of options at Newcastle I like. Dane Gagai, Savs. Another goal-kicking centre wing. I never knew he was a goal kicker, but apparently he is.
He did either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he shanked his first one this season. Is he an option? Does play round 13, Savs?
He's a very good price, like 650K. We're looking at guys at 600K like Nick Meaney, Karaz. We're looking at Tungo at this price last week, but Gagai at 650K, like he's a tier above these guys.
Yeah, he was an absolute jet last year, and I mean, he's going to get you at least 50 points just in base. Add goal kicking, an extra 10 onto that. You're going to get at least 60 plus points, and then tackle bus runs, potentially a try is good. Another one looks like he's bottomed out. Marzu Savs. I know we've said no Ponga. It did look better on the weekend. Got his tackle busting back. The price has plummeted.
So cheap.
The price has plummeted. Is he someone to look at?
He looked very good on the weekend. I don't.
Nearly 300K off his starting price. I know Ponga's not there, but is no Ponga 300K worth of difference to good old Gregory? And he could potentially lose a bit more cash this week. So I'm not saying he's a buy this week. They do have a buy coming up as well. I think it's in 2 weeks. I think it's the week before Origin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
kind of one to consider. But
I don't know. He scored 57 on the weekend. His highest score besides that is 59 and a lot of 40s and shit scores. Is this all he can score without Ponga? Like, does Ponga just
well, I
give
mean,
him
it was
that?
57 without a try or try
Yeah,
assist. It was no
I know that. I know that, but like, we're only going to get a try every 3 weeks from him. Is that good enough?
Probably not. The main thing is the tackle bus. If they're back, I mean, I'm happy to have another look at him this week. I think that's the one to whether, Marju's over his ankle injuries, because I know he came into the season with a few niggling injuries. So I guess if we can get that back-to-back games of getting, 60-ish base, I'm happy to consider him the week after going, or even for the bye round.
I could go Fini Fuiaki to Marju this week.
Yeah, but I'd rather probably Dom Young at that similar price for maybe.
Yeah, I can't quite do it there, but I can do RTS to Young this week, which I'll very heavily consider.
But that's a tomorrow chat with Timmy. I think they're good old
definitely a tomorrow chat. I'm thinking of so many trades this week. I've tried to have Monday off, but we can't have Monday off today just because of the podcast schedule.
No, so
not much else doing there.
Armstrong, is he a buy?
Oh, he should be the cheapie of the week, right?
Yeah, I mean, bottom dollar, he's got a low break even. We can kind of put that game out the window. Raining conditions were terrible. They're not going to be good for fullbacks. So if you need a downgrade option, you need to generate cash in some way. You have a rookie like, I don't know, Talangi could get a spot this week. Someone who you've kind of going nowhere on a cash gen, I think down to him is perfect because he got decent job security.
They have a good draw too. So I think over the next 3 weeks, having a fullback against the Tigers, Titans, and the Bulldogs. To be fair, the Tigers, the Titans, and the Bulldogs have all been pretty good, but they still leak defensively on their day. And how long can Newcastle keep this up? Like, I really think they've overachieved the last 2 weeks, and conditions have suited them. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm passing. I just think there's going to be a lot of cash gen options over the next few weeks, I would say. Talis Duncan could come on the horizon. There's someone else, KO Weeks, next week, who should generate us some cash. So, yeah, I think I'm looking towards that for cash generation. But Armstrong, I think he's a good option that you can play. So I'm not against it. 20-10, your Sharkies, Jake.
It was a nervous first half. We didn't play too well. The Dragons were in front. Ravalawa, I guess we'll start with him. Ravalawa on the right wing is the only way he's ever going to be an option. I think he's SuperCoach. I think he's played, 2 games there, and he's, what has he gone? 80 and 107. And on the left wing, I don't think he's cracked 40. So I expect that to change, I guess, with Sully coming back. Lomax will probably go back to that wing. So not going to be an option for poor Rav, but he's in some form. I guess I did mention him, Lomax, a low game here, 49, just because he was in the centres. They do have a bye next week, I'm pretty sure. Is he still an option to bring in for the buys?
100%. I actually looked last week when I saw Cameron Murray was injured. I'm like, who are the Rabbitohs playing next week? I need to get in their best SuperCoach option. And I saw it was the Dragons, and I'm like, I need to get in Lomax next week. And then I realized that the bye the week after. So I'm like, this is heaven for owners. Like, they're in such a good situation here where it's awkward to buy. He's at a massive price, $750K with 118 break even. So, I'm not scared of break evens, but there are people that are scared of break evens. I'm scared of the buys. There are people that aren't scared of the buys. So there's a lot going against buying Zach Lomax this week. So if you do own him, I think owning him this week is a very good thing. So with him, if you are considering him, you do have the cash. He's the guy I'd buy this week. That being said, it just feels like, I don't know, Latrell back. Does that give the Rabbitohs something?
I don't know. We've seen nothing from him, but I guess the Dragons, they were all right against Cronulla, but all in all, they were pretty ordinary. The fact that he has a bye the week after, I kind of wouldn't really be bringing him in. I think the week after they verse someone else, maybe the Tigers. No, I think it might be the Tigers. Then they verse Penrith on a bye, not on the bye round. So I'm kind of looking at him after the bye, and like you said, ideal for owners that they get him for this week. Non-owners don't really want to bring him in this week. Tom Eisenhuth, I keep mentioning him, 79 in base. He made 59 tackles. The one that I guess we could have started with, but he's not one that we want to bring in now. I mean, he's over 500k and he's one of the least exciting players, I guess, to having SuperCoach because he does not run the ball, just makes his 60 tackles a game.
Hey, I'd be stoked to have him. You just see them points accumulate throughout the game. 79 points, 59 tackles. That's ridiculous. I think one thing to note, every game he plays in the middle, the Dragons do well. He got shifted out to the edge for the Roosters, so that really opened up their middle. So it's crazy how he's been so important to that side. Kale Iro, 68 points. Jesus Christ, he's looking really good. -2 break even once again. He's going to break out sometime soon, and I don't know. He's just an automatic play option, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's getting 40, 50 just in base, and the fact that the Sharks are on top of the table, scoring plenty of points, although not really in this game, but yeah, he's a play for sure. I mean, although they come up against Melbourne this week, and I think the Roosters after, Penrith after that, not ideal draw, but I mean, I think he's a good play. He's going to get you at least 45, 50 points with attacking upside as well.
You know what I think? I think he's the type of player that we expect this big game from, but he'll get it against a Melbourne type of side.
Yeah, he'll just get 2 tries. I mean, probably against Melbourne because I'm pretty sure he's running at Warbrick's side, and that side's in all sorts in defence. Warbrick shoots in Remus Smith. Oh, no, wrong side. Warbrick and Nick Meaney, sorry. They both kind of miss their defensive assignments. So, yeah, I reckon he probably scores this week. Could even be a double. Tons up.
Mulatalo scored 37 points on the weekend, break even at 141. Do you think he is a sell? I actually got a question of that on the weekend, but now knowing the news that he's running at Warbrick,
I mean, they're coming first, but they haven't. I'll be honest, the Sharks haven't really been tested against any top teams, and they run into 3 of them in the next 3 weeks. So he might be a sell if you're kind of tight on cash. You need to maybe jump to someone like an Osako, someone that's got a good run. I mean, we talked about fullback roulette. It can almost be center wing roulette. So I kind of don't mind. I don't expect big scores out of any of the Sharks backs in the next couple of weeks. So, I mean, I can see merit in it for sure. If you've got trades, I guess you've saved some and you're happy to kind of throw some trades and see what sticks. I don't mind it.
2 more. Tom Hazelton keeps keeping on, 77 points.
One for the Boldies. Let's go.
Surely he doesn't score. Actually, it's funny. I saw him getting interviewed on the Matty John show the other day, or yesterday, obviously, and he would look so much younger if he had hair. Like he's got such a young face, but because he's bald, he looks so much older.
Yeah, it sucks for us.
So, last one. Over the next 3 weeks, the Sharks have Melbourne, the Roosters, and the Panthers. In round 13, they do have the Parramatta Eels. Nico Hines, 1,052,000 with a break-even of 65, averages 39 versus Melbourne, 53 against the Roosters, and 41 versus the Penrith Panthers, which is by far his lowest averaging sides that he plays against. Is a sell of Nico Hines warranted? Or do you think it could be a play?
Who are you going to? Is the question. I guess Nathan Cleary is the obvious one. I guess with the kind of the fact that they've been managing him the last couple of weeks, maybe he's good to go. Maybe he's back to 100%, and I can see it. But I mean, going down to say Cleary probably nets you nearly 200k. So, I mean, sure, but the fact that he's kind of pretty much got 3 tons in a row, has the potential to go massive. I know it's a tough run, but he's involved in everything. And I don't see, other than Cleary, say you already got Clear and you got Nico, who are you going Nico Hines to? Like, what other halfbacks could you see yourself bringing in, Savs?
It's really tough because I was very keen on Jerome Hughes as a halfback option, but they're playing the Sharks this week. I don't really like the Melbourne matchup versus the Sharks. So realistically, I'm in the same kind of scenario. So if I'm going to do it this week, I'm not doing it this week just because that's the case. And I actually think Jerome Hughes is out this week potentially. But Jerome Hughes, 706,000. So you would net 350 odd K, but then he plays Parramatta and then Manly next week. So I actually like his upcoming draw. Doesn't play round 13. So if Nico Hines doesn't get picked for Origin, you're kind of screwed because you can't get Nico Hines back if he's still at $1 million.
Yeah. I mean, one guy I already burnt me. Sam Walker is one halfback that you can maybe throw in there as consideration. Roosters are flying at the moment. Off score, even though they scored 40 points, but the fact that he scored 173 was worried before. Versus the Warriors, do play Cronulla, but then go the Raiders, does cover Origin as well. So Sam Walker's, I guess, one to consider at halfback, but I can't see myself selling Nico Hines. I'm a Shark supporter, so I'm probably not going to sell him, but even if I wasn't, probably wouldn't even be selling him then.
There we go. There, the score's wrapped up. We're into a couple of questions. Oh, Jesus, sorry. Got to get off the darts. No, I'm
You
kidding.
don't even smoke.
I know. Adam Quinn task reported to be out for a few months. That's
poor South.
Jesus Christ. Surely the Souths can get a loan from somewhere.
They need some voodoo to come in and stop their injuries. That's what they need.
Yeah. Anthony Zart, no boost left. Worth skipping Armstrong to bring Dearden and Dom Young. Can't go Drinky with Turbo Walsh, but still need a piece of Cowboys attack. Already have Val means selling RTS and Smithies. Dearden, I don't mind the Dearden play, to be honest. They got a pretty good draw over the next couple of weeks. And if you don't already have a gun 5'8", if it means you're selling RTS and Smithies, means you're probably putting Ethan Strange into the center wing. I don't hate it. I actually like that. I think bringing Dearden and Dom Young is a good move this week. And off face value, it doesn't look that great, but I think there's a lot of good thoughts around it.
Yeah, I do like Dearden. The fact that no one's really taking off at 5'8", like you said, Cowboys good run. Dearden looks good. It just doesn't really translate to massive SuperCoach scores, but we saw last year he has big scores in him. So yeah, I don't mind Dearden. And we've spoken about Dom Young. The fact that Roosters are humming, I do like it.
Danny Levi is GOAT, says Patrick Taylor. Is this the guy that bought in Schneider?
Yes.
He can match
yes,
Grant. You can definitely match Grant. 1-0 to Arsenal on YouTube. Best center wing to bring in under 700K, lads.
I like Dane Gagai.
Dane Gagai come to mind first up with me as well.
Does have a bye in 2 weeks, though, so it's a bit meh.
So what are you looking at? Are you looking at average or total points over the next, 3 weeks? You're probably looking at...
I'd factor in the buy as well, so that's why I kind of like him. I guess the other option, a Dom Young type, for an extra, like he's 550K. So if you can find an extra, or spend the extra 100, 150K on someone else, I don't mind going a little cheaper as well, because I think over the next, now till around 16, you're probably going to get the same out of all of these guys.
All right, Jake, just before we go, early trade thoughts.
I'm bringing in Armstrong, and I think I'm getting rid of Dallin for it, so it's going to net me a bit of a war chest, and the other trade will be Pappenhausen to Drinkwater. So I think next week I'm kind of going to use that money to upgrade 2 of my players. So take a bit of a hit this week, build a war chest, and go good next week.
I think I'm going to do Chance Nickel Clockstad to Drinkwater, which nets me about 50K. Is it 50K? I think that's about it. I've got 63K in the bank and I didn't last week. So yeah, it nets me about 50K, which I'm very happy with. Because 2 weeks ago, that trade would have cost me 120.
Chance a Drinky, is it?
Yeah.
That costs you.
Does it?
Oh, actually, it's around the same. They're pretty much the same price.
Wait. I'm looking at my bank with. I traded in Jerome Hughes for Sean Johnson this week with early trade thoughts. Sorry. Yep. So they're about the same. Brother. And let's do it live now to make sure I can actually do it. So Roger, Tuivasa, Sheck to who do you think it is?
Dom Young.
Let's hope Dominic Young, 549. They're about the same price too. So 3,400 in the bank. RTS to Dom Young. I love it. I love the look of the upside. And that'll allow me to go Galvin to Weeks next week. And then I'll probably look at upgrading Finny Fuliaki to someone else.
I like it.
And then I've probably got to save some trades before round 13.
Meh. You can't without using them. So why bother stopping now?
I feel like a lot of people haven't saved trades. So I think a lot of us are going to be like, I'm not even kidding. Like we've had to use them, haven't we?
Yeah, just for like there's been cash generation plays. There's been plays that we kind of have to get and then upgrade plays that we've kind of had to do. So a lot of people use more boosts than what we did last year. I think the fact that we learned that saving boosts wasn't all that cracked up to be. So I think we've kind of readjusted and everyone's kind of burnt through trades. But I think the fact that we've kind of come to the point where a lot of our teams kind of hitting that mid to primo range that we don't really have to fight for cash gen as much. So I think, in the next couple of weeks, we can kind of save some trades.
All right, a couple more before we go. If you have someone like Firma, is it worth considering upgrading to a top 2 RF instead of trying to find center wing points this week?
I mean, if you're going, unless you don't have Crichton, you're going to Crichton or you're going to Feeder, I don't see there's too much upside second rowers. Savs, can you kind of think of anyone else that?
Yeah,
I mean, even Kawatu isn't available. There's not really anyone that I can kind of think of.
Yeah, even Nickera this week, over the next couple of weeks, isn't that good. It's got to be for Feeder, or it's got to be, I don't hate going to Nanai as a pod play. There's not much else going around though, is there? I don't mind Dylan Lucas for a bit of like just security. He's been killing it, but there's like the second row option. There's not much. So with Fermor, I'd probably go for an upside center wing rather.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the option, definitely be going an upside center wing, stack your center wings. I think the second rows are kind of all doing the same thing apart from Fafita.
And Haggy, thoughts on Marju? We actually spoke about Marju not too long ago, so scroll back, but we probably think there's better options. But the price, if you can
back it up this week with what he did the week just gone, he looks tempting.
50K difference, Dom Young. I'm taking Dom Young. I'm taking Dom Young for sure.
We know you're taking him.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for coming on tonight. I know it's a Monday night, and thank you for tuning in. Monday night wrap up is it feels a bit redundant sometimes, but we got through it. We got it done, and you've got something to listen to on your Tuesday morning before you listen to our ugly heads again on Tuesday afternoon. Jake, good luck this week, and hope you do well.
You too, mate. Good luck tomorrow. You're pulling the good old back-to-back, so big effort, big stint from you, mate. You're an absolute workhorse. So I look forward to you and Timmy breaking down TLT.
Thank you. We'll see you next.
Continuing your run up the top of the table.
Yes, up Cronulla.